It's often said, and I fully agree, that if you were to peel all the layers back from this thing we all call leadership, at the core of the core of the core of it all is this thing called trust. Do people trust me? Do people trust you? Do people trust who we have empowered to lead in our organizations? To the extent that we are trusted and that our people are trusted, we are free to lead. We can dream great dreams. We can go from here to there. When we lose trust, it's game over. We can no longer lead. It all comes to a grinding halt. So what I thought we would do, because we've been reflecting these last moments on integrity, trustworthiness, I thought we'd do a brief but very sincere trust audit or trust inventory. Those of you who are new to the summit, you might think that all we do at the summit is we get brain dumps. We hear great talks, and we get it all in our heads, and then we go our way. One of the traditions of the summit is that we do heart checks, not just brain dumps. At some portion of every summit, we call a timeout. And we go, let's open our chests, expose our hearts to God, and let Him speak to us about this matter or that. And in the next few moments, we're going to let Him talk to us about our trustworthiness, to see if there's been any slippage in our own integrity. And then in a moment, I'm going to ask you some very difficult questions about members of your team. If you've detected any little slippage of trustworthiness in teammates or colleagues, and what to do about that. Now, for those of you who are church people, you know how we do audits. Usually what we do is we simply bow our heads. Sometimes we open our hands up before God just to show Him that we're surrendered. You don't have to do that. If you're not accustomed to how church people do this, you might just be willing to try. You don't have to, but sometimes it helps if you just bow your head, you close your eyes, and you go, okay, I haven't done one of these audits before, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Let's see. If you're willing, let's get into that audit mode now. And I'll ask you some questions that you and God can sort out together. This is just between you and God. Is there any area of your life right now, leader, that would fail the trustworthiness test? Are you knowingly compromising your integrity in any significant way? First of all, in the area of finances. Is there a single dollar changing accounts or hands in an inappropriate or dishonoring way? Relationally, is there any breach of confidentiality in any relationship that comes to your mind right now where you know something is out of bounds? Is there anything you're doing as a leader or in your organization that's gray enough to wonder if it's actually legal? Every once in a while at night you go, ooh, I'm not even sure that's legal. But we do it. Is there any sexual transgression or private habit or addiction that's got its hooks in you and you know it? Now, it's quite possible that nobody else knows about this yet. In my experience, because we have a slow to anger God, even when there's the beginning of the departure from innocence, when we first start losing our way, sometimes God allows us to wander just a little bit, to see if we can sort it out, to see if we will come back to Him, to see if we will make it right. And He allows all of this to go unexposed publicly. He's just giving us time to come back to Him and to make it right without blowing our worlds up, blowing our leadership up, blowing our integrity up publicly. So I ask you, I'm not beyond pleading, while you still enjoy influence, while you still have your position of leadership, while you still are trusted by folks, would you this day pledge to make what is wrong right? Would you pay the money back? Like right now, would you just in your head say, you know what? There's dollars out of place. They're going to get back in place within 24 hours. I pledge it before God. If there's something that doesn't belong to you that has to get returned, would you say within 24 hours, this is going to get returned? If there's a deceitful deal, you just smell it. You know it. It's going wrong. It doesn't honor God. Would you just say, you know what? I'm getting out of that deal within 24 hours, even if I take a loss. I'm getting out of it. If there's a deceitful or destructive relationship, you know what? It's got to end. It's got to end now. If there's a self-destructive behavior that you've been flirting with and losing ground to, maybe you would just say, hey, do I have to blow my whole world up? Do I have to blow my company up? Do I have to blow my ministry up? Do I have to blow my family up? Maybe the Spirit of God would talk to you right now and go, no. The Spirit of God might be saying, I'm giving you an opportunity before it all blows up. I'm giving you an opportunity to get help, to make a decision of integrity so that you can maintain trust. Some of you are a little worried about whether or not you can do this on your own. I have bad news and good news. Bad news, you can't do this stuff mostly on your own. Good news is God's available to help you. If you will take one step toward integrity, one step toward regaining trust, you take that one faltering step, you will feel the presence of God accompanying you for step 2, step 3, and step 4. God will accompany those who are walking back to integrity. I'll give you just a second now to say, I'm coming back. I'm going to straighten it out. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to make this right. Can you regain your absolute sense of trustworthiness in this moment? Then one more thing in this trustworthiness audit. Mario made it very clear in his brilliant message about integrity that those of us in senior leadership are responsible for the integrity of all of our colleagues and everyone who's in our organization. Is there anyone in your organization who you've had that sense in your spirit, I think there's a trustworthiness problem with so-and-so or with so-and-so. I don't want to make a big hassle. I don't want to blow the department up. I can't afford to lose Frank, but I think Frank shaves the truth now and then. Gang, some of the deepest regrets I carry in ministry is knowing people in our organization who were off track and me not having the courage to go to them forthrightly and to have a conversation. I let some integrity issues go on way, way too long. And when I finally worked up the courage to go have the conversation, a lot of damage had already been done. I remember one time a colleague and I saw some funny business on his expense reports. And I thought, who am I to judge? I mean, he keeps his books, I keep mine. 2 years went by. And then the evidence began to mount, and it began to mount, and it began to mount. And finally, I worked up the courage. And I sat him down across from my desk, and I said, these expense reports don't make any sense to me. And he broke down over the other side of my desk, and he said, I've been deceiving you. I've been deceiving the church. I've been doing this for years. It's been eating me alive. I could have saved him 2 years of that. He got help. He's actually in another ministry. He's doing fine. I failed him for 2 years because I was chicken to have the difficult conversation, to just ask him. Is there anyone that comes to mind right now where you say, you know what, I think I got to have a conversation? Or is there anyone who comes to mind where you know, hey, I've already had the conversation. I need to take this person out. This person's got to go. This person cannot represent God's honor in the organization that I lead. He hurts too many people. She doesn't tell the truth. They don't follow up. They don't do what they're supposed to do. Give first warnings. Give second warnings. At some point, trustworthiness is on the line, and you've got to enforce it. You've got to stand up for it. I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. If you strip all of leadership down to its core, it's all about trust. You've got to demonstrate yours. You've got to make sure that there's trust all throughout the organization. Yes? And right now, would you just close your eyes for a second and say, God, give me the strength. Please, I believe you will give me the strength to have the difficult conversation with whomever I have to have the difficult conversation with, to make sure all things are right, to make sure all things are trustworthy, to make sure the full blessing of God can be on our business, on our department, on our church, on our NGO. The Bible says there's such freedom, such incredible freedom when we're right with God, when we know we're walking with Him and we know our organization is honoring Him. Just tremendous freedom and a sense of joy, and there's no worry about the knock on the door late at night. I mean, it's very cool when we're free because we know we're being trustworthy, and so is everyone around us. I thought we would end this session by celebrating the trustworthiness of God. You've never had to lay awake one night worrying about whether or not God's going to be straight, whether or not He's going to keep His word, whether or not He's going to be faithful to you. Our God is absolutely trustworthy. What He says He's going to do, He will do. And when He says He's going to show up for you, He will. And when He promises forgiveness, even if you've lost your way and you got to come back, He comes through with forgiveness. He's that kind of God, isn't He? It's an amazing God we have.